Hello guys. Another important document has been uploaded in the PIB website in the category of backgrounders. So the document pertains to the reduction of Naxal influence in our country. Not just a reduction, but a substantial reduction in the influence of the Naxalism and the Naxalites in our country. So the title of the document is From Red Corridor to Naxal-Free Bharat. Okay, a decade of decisive gains from 2014 to 2025. You see, in these odd 11 to 12 years, there is actually substantial decline in the influence of Naxalism and the Naxalites in our country. Okay, if we dive deep into the data and we will see the data. If you understand the data, the number of Naxal impacted districts or areas, their number has drastically come down. Okay, in this document, we will try and see the perspective of the government or the standpoint view of the government or fact check we will do. Maybe in other discussion, maybe we will see, how the government was able to achieve this success against the Naxalite. So the initiatives or the method followed by the government, is it correct? What should government could have done differently? So this type of discussion may be at the appropriate time when a proper analysis comes out of this topic. We will discuss that also. But in this document or in this session, we will confine ourselves to the data that is provided by the government and the initiatives taken by the government, and also the successes that have been achieved by the government against the left-wing extremism of in our country. You see, this topic becomes very, very important in GS3, that is security, internal security. Okay, then in Indian society also you can actually try and discuss this topic, because of course it is also one of Naxalism in our country is of course one of the socio-economic and political problem. It has arisen because of socio-economic and political problems. So as part of Indian society also you can have a discussion. Okay, governance, Indian society, and internal security. In all these three areas, this topic has importance. Okay, so we will see the details about the topic. You see, reflecting the central government's decisive defense strategy against the left-wing extremism. You see, Naxalite movement or Naxalism is also more popularly called as LWE, left-wing extremism. Okay, and against that, significant progress has been made in reducing Naxal-affected regions across the country. Okay, with decisive interventions, the Naxal most affected districts, the number has been brought down to only 3 in 2025 from 36 in 2014. This is the most affected districts. Then if you see the total left-wing extremism affected districts, that has gone down to 11 by 2025 compared to 126 in 2014. Okay. So government says that it has adopted a unified, multidimensional, and decisive strategy against Naxalism, replacing the scattered approach of previous governments. That is what the government is saying. You see, almost all the governments, irrespective of the political parties, they have adopted a strategy against the Naxalites and the Naxalism. This is actually called as carrot and stick policy. Okay, so on the one side you are continuing your security measures, deploying the police force and military forces, that is stick policy, and the other side you are giving them carrots, means soaps, benefits, trying and motivating them to leave this radical path or extremist path and join the mainstream society. Okay, so this government says that the earlier governments have adopted a scattered approach, not a holistic approach, and this government says that we have adopted a holistic approach. Okay, you see, operating on the clear principles of dialogue, then security, then coordination. This government has set a firm target of making every Naxal affected area completely Naxal free by 31st March 2026. So this is the famous promise made by our Honorable Home Minister of the country to the people of the country. So we can say that actually he is very much close to fulfilling his promise of making the country Naxal free by 31st March 2026. Okay. So we will see some data that shows a significant reduction in the Naxal violence in 10 years. So Naxalism in our country actually spread in the region that is called as Red Corridor. So it actually, if this is India, okay, so it starts from here, Nepal, okay, all this region, okay, this is actually called as Red Corridor, which includes states such as Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Maharashtra, Kerala, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, and parts of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Actually, it enters even into Kerala also. So this is actually famously called as or infamously called as Red Corridor. All these states were impacted by left-wing extremism. Okay, you see India's multidimensional counter left-wing extremism strategy. It has sharply reduced violence, weakened the movement, and reintegrated the districts. So if you see the decline in violent incidents in 2014, there were 16,463. Sorry, between 2004 and 2014, Naxalite related incidents were 16,000 plus. Between 2014 and 2024, they came down to 7,700 plus. So there is 53% decrease altogether, right? Then if you see the decline in security personnel's deaths between 2004 and 2014, 1800 plus security personnel have died in the operations. Okay, anti-Naxal operations. Between 2014 and 24, the number has come down to 509. So there is almost a 73% decline, okay, in deaths of security personnel. Okay, you say earlier the government was very much criticized for the deaths of security personnel. Most of the times it has against the Naxalites, it has happened that more security personnel have died than the Naxalites have, or Naxalites that were subjected to death, or more than the loss of security personnel was there than the loss of Naxalites. That is how you can diplomatically put it. So there was always a criticism against the government that we are losing more people than the Naxalites. So this government says that we have reduced that. Actually, there is 73% decrease in the deaths of security personnel between 2014 and 24. Okay. Then if you see the decline of civilian deaths in these anti-Naxal operations, between 2004 and 2014, there 4,766 people died, lost their lives. If you see the data for 2014 and 24, 1,495 people have died. Okay, civilians have died. So there is 70% decrease in the loss of civilian lives in these anti-Naxal operations or Naxal-related violence, etc. Okay. Then if you see the operational achievements in 2024-25, you can say this is a watershed year for the security forces in fighting with the Naxalites. Okay. In 2025, so far 317 Naxals have been neutralized, 862 have been arrested, and 1,900 surrendered. Okay, in 2024 alone, 290 were neutralized, 1,090 were arrested, and 881 surrendered. Okay, including in added to this one, a total of 28 top Naxal leaders have also been neutralized, including one central committee member in 2024. Okay, you see major successes include the killing of 27 hardcore Naxalites in the Operation Black Forest. Okay, recently in this Karregutta area of Telangana and Chhattisgarh and Odisha borders, there is a there are hills called as Karregutta, or if you translate it into English, Black Hills. So a major operation for 20-21 days or 20 to 21 days has been initiated or conducted by government. In that, 24 Naxalites have been neutralized, 24 surrendered, in Bijapur district. And on 23rd May 2025, this has happened. And 258 people, Naxalites have surrendered in October 2025 across Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, which includes 10 senior Naxalites in these total surrendered Naxalites. Okay, these are the operational achievements in 2024 and 25. So you can say the Naxalite movement has broken its back in the year 2024 and 25. Okay, then if you see the security perimeter achievements in recent years, under the central government, only 3 districts remain which are most affected by Naxalism in 2025 compared to this data we have already seen 36 in 2014. The total Naxal affected regions were 126 in 2014. Now they have become 11. Okay, you see developments or initiatives like fortified police stations. Their number increased from only 66 in 2014 to 586 in the last 10 years. Police stations recording Naxal incidents, they dropped sharply from 330 across 76 districts in 2013 to just 52 in 22 districts by 2025. Okay, these are the some of the other successes that have been achieved. Okay, another very important initiative that was taken by the government is choking of the financial system or financial flow to the Naxalites. Okay, you see the central government effectively choked the Naxal financing by forming a dedicated vertical in the NIA. Okay, and that seized assets worth of 40 crore rupees, while states seized more than another 40 crore rupees. 40 crore rupees, and ED, it has attached 12 crore rupees. Okay, these simultaneous actions that have inflicted severe moral and psychological damage on the category of Naxals, urban Naxals. We will discuss about them at the appropriate time, and also tightened control over their information warfare networks. So this government says that the urban Naxalites were actually supporting a lot. The Naxalites actually fighting from the forest. So we have effectively targeted and reduced the impact of urban Naxalites also. Because of that, we could effectively tighten the flow of finances to the Naxalites. Okay. Then if you see capacity building and capacity building of states by the central government has strengthened the capacity of left-wing extremism affected states through increased financial support and targeted assistance under key security and infrastructure schemes. If we see some of them, central government released 3,300 plus crore rupees under security related expenditure scheme to LWE-affected states in the last 11 years, marking a 155% increase, okay, in the fund release. Second scheme, if you see, or second initiative, if you see, under the Special Infrastructure Scheme, SIS scheme, central government approved 371 crore for strengthening the state special forces and special intelligence branches, okay, and 620 crore for 246 fortified police stations in the original phase. Okay, these were the another initiatives. Next initiative, if you see, in the last 8 years, that is between 2017-18 onwards, projects worth of 1,757 crore have been approved, and so far 445 crore has been already released by the central government. Then a total of 586 fortified police stations have been constructed since 2014. Then 3,800 plus crore provided under the Special Central Assistance Scheme. Then under the Assistance to Central Agencies Scheme, rupees 125 crore released for camp infrastructure in the last 10 years. Okay, this is the financial support provided by the central governments to various state governments, especially the states which have been impacted or affected by left-wing extremism. Then if you see infrastructure development, you see infrastructure development plays a critical role in effectively fighting the Naxalism. Okay, so this government in the last 10 to 11 years has made tremendous progress in building this critical infrastructure in the Naxal affected regions. Okay, you see, the government has significantly strengthened the infrastructure in left-wing extremism affected areas by expanding the road networks and the mobile connectivity. You see, these two infrastructure or communication networks, one is physical and the second one is digital. Okay, they play a critical role in fighting the left-wing extremism, especially in the you know remote areas of the country or in deep forested areas. Okay, then if you see road connectivity in left wing extremism areas from May 2014 to August to 2025, central government has conducted 12,000 kilometers of roads in these affected regions, while projects for a total of 1,700,589 kilometers have been approved at a cost of over 20,000 plus crore. Okay, ensuring all-weather road connectivity to these regions. Okay, then mobile network expansion, if you see, in the first phase, 2,300 plus 2G mobile towers were installed at a cost of 4,000 plus crore rupees. In the second phase sanctioned 2,500 plus towers with investment of 2,200 plus crore rupees. Okay, in this, 1,100 plus towers are already installed. Okay, additionally, under the aspirational districts and 4G saturation schemes, 8,500 plus 4G towers they have been approved, with 2,596 and 2,761 towers respectively now functional. They have become functional. Okay, all these things have dramatically improved the communication and intelligence reach in these core Naxal affected areas. Okay, then another area that was focused is ensuring financial inclusion in these affected districts. You see, in line with that, the central government has ensured deep financial inclusion in LWE affected districts by establishing 1,804 bank branches, 1,300 plus ATMs, and 37,850 banking correspondents. Very, very, very significant information. You see, apart from that, it also opened 5,900, almost 5,900 in post offices across 90 districts with a coverage at every 5 kilometers, bringing banking, postal, and remittance services directly to the remote communities previously which were under Naxal influence. Okay. Then if you see educational empowerment along with the skill development, the central government has launched the skill development initiatives in 48 left-wing extremism affected districts by sanctioning 48 ITIs and with an investment of 495 crore and approving 61 skill development centers. Okay, of these 46 ITIs and 49 SDCs, they are already functional, providing vocational training and employment opportunities to local youth, thereby reducing the Naxalite recruitment and integrating more remote communities into the mainstream economy. Okay, then if you see separate vertical in NIA, we have earlier seen that in NIA there has been a separate vertical, okay, started. So NIA has established a dedicated anti-Naxal vertical that investigated 108 cases and filed charge sheets in 87 cases. This significantly weakened the Maoist organizational structure through accelerated prosecution. Simultaneously, in 2018, central government raised the Bastaria battalion comprising 1,143 recruits, including an initial 4,000 local youth from the worst affected districts of Bijapur, Sukma, and Dantewada. Okay, in Chhattisgarh, turning former Naxal strongholds into sources of trained security personnel fighting the insurgency. Right. Then if you see areas freed from Naxals after 3 decades, success stories, if you see, the security forces have conducted several, operations. They include Octopus, Double Bull, and Chakbanda. Okay, these operations have liberated long-held Naxal bastions, including Buddha Pahad, uh, Parasnath, Baramasya, and Chakrabanda. Okay, after 3 decades of Maoist control, the security forces have established permanent camps deep inside remote jungles and reached to hitherto impenetrable Abujmad region. Okay, Abujmad region is in Chhattisgarh. Okay, you see these sustained offensive force, offenses forced the PLGA, People's Liberation Guerrilla Army Battalion, to abandon its core area in Bijapur, Sukma, and caused the complete failure of the Naxalites in 2014 tactical counter-offensive campaign. Okay, marking the collapse of the strategic stronghold and operational dominance of Naxalites. Okay, so these are some of the successes that have been achieved by the security forces against the Naxalites. So you remember the names of the operations: Octopus, Double Bull, Chakbanda. These are the names of the operations taken up by the government. Added to that one, Operation Black Forest, that has been taken up in 2025 also. Then if you see the surrender and rehabilitation scheme, it has also been made very much effective. Okay, so the central government surrender cum rehabilitation policy, it has accelerated the collapse of Naxalite cadres by offering attractive incentives and assured livelihood. Okay, if you see the details, high rank LWE cadres receive 5 lakh, middle or lower rank cadre receive 2.5 lakh, and all surrenders get a 10,000 per month stipend for professional training lasting for 36 months, that is for 3 years. Okay, as a result, if you see 521 LWE cadres surrendered this year alone, with the total rising to 1053 after the new state government assumed the power, successfully bringing hundreds of former insurgents into mainstream with the guaranteed employment security, right? So if you have to conclude this discussion, over the past 11 years, the central government's coordinated multi-pronged strategy, combining with the calibrated security operations, unprecedented infrastructure push, and financial choking, rapid developmental saturation, and an attractive surrender policy, this has shrunk left-wing extremism from 126 districts in 2014 to just 11 in 25, with only 3 remaining most affected districts. Okay, you can say in this way, the present government has achieved great successes against the Naxalite movement in our country, but at what cost it has come? That question we have to definitely ask. Okay, you see, after all, these people, these people are Naxalites who have joined this Naxalite movement. After all, they are our own people who have been, faced a lot of problems in the system. They are dissatisfied with the system. Okay, on few of them, atrocities have been committed, not just by the fellow people, but even by the government machinery. Okay, so having no solution inside, actually they have taken up the arms and they started fighting. Okay, so maybe at the appropriate time, maybe in another session, we will try and discuss whether the method followed by the government, policy taken up by the government is correct. How different could have been the policy of the government? Those aspects we will try and cover in the next video. Okay, so this is it for today. Have a good time. See you next. Have a good time. See you next.